Did you send me an email?
I did on Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday, but I will resend it to you.
Yeah, resend it to me.
I needed to chat about historic preservation.
Okay. I've been having issues with my email, so that may be part of it.
Oh, that's a sign, Chris. That means, yeah, that's a sign, man. I know.
All right, good evening, everyone. This will begin the pre-meeting for the May 13th City of Rochester Zoning Board of Appeals hearing. During the pre-meeting, board members go over cases. There is no there is no participation by applicants or the public during this time. Before we get started with reviewing the first two cases, you all reviewed a case at 72 Thurston Road back in December of this year. And I'll pull the stuff up, but this was a mixed use building on the east side of Thurston Road. The conversion was from 3 storefronts to 3 residential units, and it was approved on condition of some changes. The applicant has submitted drawings which have changed the floor plan slightly. So my intent of bringing this all to you would be for you to agree to the fact that if it is still in substantial compliance with your approval. The architect emailed me and stated that, I thought I had this up somewhere. Bear with me, guys, I apologize. The architect emailed me and stated that the current or the floor area configuration that you all reviewed were submitted by a company that were drawn by a drafter that did not meet parts of the building code fully with regard to egress from the bedrooms. If you remember, it was 3 back to front units. So she's submitting a new plan, which actually adds about 30 square feet of usable floor space to 2 of the units over what was originally proposed. So I'm going to share my screen here. Bear with me.
That Tyrese?
Oh, this is Devin. He's joined us before. He won't be here long.
I've seen him before, but I don't think I knew his name.
So if you all remember, try not to get motion sickness as I scroll. This was this building here. And you all had approved it, that the windows on the first floor of the front elevation shall be replaced with double hung windows to match the size of the windows on the front elevation on the second floor. Sidewalks be installed and remove the additional concrete and asphalt, and a covering over each door shall be installed in the form of an awning or shed roof. So basically this is the email I just read from you from the applicant's new architect. And of course it's sideways. So basically the changes would include, instead of a third door here, the door would actually be at the rear. They would still install the concrete walkways, and then this would be a bedroom because there'd be a door at the rear. And I apologize, the other floor plan did not come in this document that I saved. But this would be the elevation. It would not have a door here on the right side. The door would be in the back because the floor plan, this middle unit was problematic from building code, not having windows on either side if there were units on either side. Does anyone have any questions? Does that, what I described, make sense?
I think it makes sense.
So the door in the back.
So it's no plan of the back?
No, I do not have a plan for the back. This is a side view. So you had talked about the, I think the 19th ward had submitted examples of a building further down Thurston, which is where the coverings over the doors had come from.
Yeah.
So there's 2 doors in the front and 1 in the back, right?
Correct. The access to this right side unit would be in the back, but the windows would be the same size as shown here. And then all the other conditions that you all imposed on it would remain.
Did it say that the door goes into the bedroom? Is that right?
No, it goes, I believe it goes into the living room.
Oh, okay.
And I apologize, the other floor plan, I thought I had it in this document and I don't have it saved. But no, the front 2, so this is the entrance from Thurston.
Got it.
And I'm pointing at my screen as if you guys can see it. The side here, or excuse me, the front here, and then it would be from the back. So this would be a bedroom where you'd enter the
Oh, so
living
it's like
room on the other
reversed.
side. Correct. It's like reversed.
Gotcha.
It's more of a, yes, it's reversed. I didn't, because the changes, of course, it wasn't the exact configuration you saw. So my intent here for bringing it to you all is if you feel that it's still in substantial compliance with the approval on condition that is on the screen here.
Do we vote on it?
Yeah, I mean, does anyone have any questions?
No.
No,
No,
Okay. If someone wants to, Johanna, should we do a vote?
Yeah, you could just make a motion that this is in substantial compliance with the conditions of the prior approval. I think that's what you're doing. You're not approving a change. You're just saying it's substantially the same or in substantial compliance with the prior conditions, the previously approved conditions.
Someone want to make that motion?
I will make the motion that Johanna just said.
I said a couple things.
I know,
All of it.
all of it, everything you said.
Okay.
I'll second it, Matt.
And I guess I can just run through. Jim? It's a yes, I guess yes or no.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Tyrese?
Yes,
David?
Can I vote on it?
Did you, good call, sir. You were not here at the December hearing. Thank you. Lorene?
Yes.
Cora?
Yes.
And Holly was there.
Yes.
Great, thank you all. I'm going to stop sharing and we can get started with case number 1. So case number 1, as you all know, was here last month. There were a number of items that you, as a board, had requested as part of a hold. There was an email or a document in the new staff report, which was the applicant's response to addressing that he's open to tucked up against the house. And I think he talked a little bit about it being shorter, will be a smaller concrete pad immediately behind. Any questions on this? David, if you did not have a chance to view the YouTube, so just, oh, you did. Okay, perfect. Then you can vote then. Any questions on this one?
So he's gonna bring it to 25 feet. Or whatever the height of the chimney is.
Or whatever. So, right. So the question then becomes the height is, if the height is a number, whereas the question becomes if you're comfortable, height of the chimney, height of the house,
Sure.
whatever that is. No other questions on that one. And the final case, the second and final case, so case 3, 951 Park Avenue is not being heard tonight. There are no members of the public signed up to speak on it. It's held as a result of the Preservation Board wanting more detailed information. So it's not worth coming to the zoning board yet if it's not going to pan out with the Pres Board. So at this time that was removed from the agenda and will not be heard tonight. And there's no one signed up to speak for it. We would have given them that opportunity had they come. And then case number 3 is 235, 237, 239, and 245 North Winton Road, and 650-656 and 668 Blossom Road. This is a use variance. We'll spend a few minutes talking about this one and then go over any questions that you have. So this is a use variance for one component of a restaurant, sit-down restaurant, which is a permitted use in the district. It's the drive-through component that is not, so that is being presented tonight. And then there's a series of area variances as it relates to some physical aspects of the site. I have my great colleague, Tom Kisior, here this evening, who was the site plan reviewer on the project. And my hope is that if there are any questions that come up regarding some of the nuances that have come out of the project, why things may be the way they are. There's been a lot of changes to the project as a result of a series of factors. And there's probably a few of you on this board who remember this assemblage of parcels from a former project that was proposed there. So a number of years later, this is the new project. So some of the questions regarding both the use variance as well as the area variances to think about with this one, as it is a bit unique. There's no existing structures on the site. It's completely vacant. So it's starting new. So some of the things to think about are, of course, why the need for a drive-through? What other proposals have been considered? What resulted in the need for this use variance request as opposed to all of the other uses that are permitted? And then furthermore, if there are any things being done to sort of mitigate the fact that a component of a use is being introduced to the site that's not permitted. So some things to think about with regard to the use. And then of course, the area variances are more physical aspects of what's being looked at tonight.
Yeah, and as Matt said, I've been involved in this site and project for a while, so there's a lot of history. So if you want any additional information as to what process that has gone on, I think this project is in its second phase, and I think we've been working on it for about 2.5 years. So there's lots of history. Lots of changes have occurred. So I'm happy to provide additional information and context if you have any questions.
So the site plan review has all been okayed and that's gone through, and Tom?
No, we're in site plan review right now. So we actually started a site plan review on a similar project which about 2.5 years ago. That got pretty far, but didn't get exactly to the boards. There were some design recommendations. They came back and had a more substantial redesign. So we started site plan review again. And since then, there have been a lot of community meetings. They've met with the project review committee, design changes, things like that. So we got to a point where we issued the negative declaration, and now we're ready that we have, kind of the final-ish product to bring to you guys. It's ready for review at the zoning board. So site plan review is still open, and that is pending your decisions, and also the project needs to go to it went to City Planning Commission, and they approved the additional 7 spaces over the maximum. So we're kind of still in the process.
Okay.
So the questions here are around obviously meeting the standard based around all of the changes that have occurred. What has been done to mitigate the need for the variances, and how has that been addressed as part of the site plan, as well as where the use of the drive-through is being proposed on the site. How is that potentially being mitigated too for introducing that into the site? So
Tom, you guys through this process didn't think that double queuing for the drive-through would help mitigate the variances? Just curious for the Starbucks.
It's a pretty big site. So in this case, we felt they had a lot of room on site. So they have most of the queuing would be on the Starbucks portion of the site, but then there's still that center aisle. If they backed up, there's still kind of that interior aisle. So none of the traffic's really going to get to the street. Yeah.
Just curious.
like the East Avenue Dunkin' Donuts.
I was gonna say nothing will or nothing should, because sometimes those Starbucks lines get really.
Well, that's part of the
They would
placement.
have to have like 40 cars in order to get
Okay.
to it.
Gotcha.
And then the other thing from a traffic standpoint is Monroe County DOT has been very involved, and some of the revisions throughout have been a result of traffic review, and they've done 2 separate traffic reports and analyses. So some of the location of the building is kind of based a lot on the traffic feedback from the county.
What would be the timeline if everything went through today between now and breaking ground? Do we know?
They're ready to get started. So I think if everything was to move forward, they're ready to get started. I think you probably want to ask the applicant, but I know Starbucks and Well Now are pretty close to being ready for building permits if everything goes well. This third building is a second phase, so they don't have tenants yet. They intend to build it, but the priority is the 2 buildings where they do have tenants, and then they would work on that 3rd building.
And you guys during site plan review, take a look at the, you guys review photometrics for site lighting correctly. I just want to make sure, like that walkway in between building C and building B, so that's well lit. So you guys take a look at all that during site plan review and just ensure that, it meets the adequate levels required.
Yep. Yeah, we look at lighting through the process, but if you guys had concerns, we could always, you could always require changes if you like. But yeah, lighting is something we do look at.
You got a photometric plan for it?
Let me check. I
think the only concern would be that walkway in between those buildings,
Yeah, let me double check while you guys are talking.
I don't have any more questions though, besides that. If anybody else on does.
Well, Matt,
Go ahead.
and I know that a couple of letters of dissent came in. They're almost copies of each other. And they both refer to traffic studies. Did anybody from the city reach out to those 2 senders about traffic studies?
No, not at this time. So the way the public comment phase works is it's most appropriate because the decision lies with the zoning board. We can certainly engage people, and people do reach out to us after decisions are made, and we engage with them to let them know like why something is the way it is. But upon receipt of feedback that comes in, our response is always that their submission will be provided to the zoning board members to be considered as part of the entire application. So to your point about the traffic, of course, that was addressed. There were also concerns about integrating or having some smaller use things, which I think is part of the plan with the 3rd building. But no, at this time, no, but people do reach out after the fact, especially if things don't go the direction they want.
Now, Tom, you mentioned about this thing going on for about 2.5 years, but the entire project, or the original project, is that like 6 years ago or so?
The Aldi's project, I think, was maybe 2014-ish. So yeah, the site has been vacant, and they've been trying to develop it for even longer. This review period was when we always knew there was going to be kind of 2 or 3 buildings, some mixed use, office. That's for this, I guess you'd call it second proposal. The first proposal was Aldi, and I think that was like 2013 or 2014.
Thank you.
Matt, I was on when Aldi was, when they was presenting Aldi. Has there been a feasibility study regarding this project?
I missed what you said. A feasibility study for what?
For this project here, because I remember Aldi, I was on that, and I was just wondering, you got time span, did they ever come up with a feasibility study?
For the Aldi or the new one?
For both, no, for the new one.
Yeah, so I think you're referring to kind of like the site plan process. So Aldi went through a similar process, a similar site planning process, which does referrals out to reviewing agencies, both Monroe County as well as the city. And a big component of that is community outreach, which is obviously a big component with anything. So the preliminary site plan findings for this one are in the packet, which details some of that information. And if you have specific questions about that too, you can certainly ask myself, and if I can't answer them, Tom is here for that.
And I did find the photometric plan. You are talking about the area between the well now and the phase 2 building?
Yeah, building B and building C.
Yep. Yeah, so there's, they show that sidewalk lit. There are 3 lights attached to the wall kind of shining onto that sidewalk. So it shows lighting in between the buildings, but not, it's designed so that it doesn't go too far off the site. It's really just kind of at the sidewalk. And then
what are the readings? What are the readings along the, I don't know if that's
it is generally 2.0 I think lumens.
you guys are and the city's okay with 2.0 along that. That's just surprising. That's really low for a security concern at night. That's like not that bright.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'd be happy to look into that, and it's probably something you could ask during the meeting if they would be able to, brighten up that area if you have a concern between the two buildings.
Okay. You think you could send me a snapshot of it? I'm just curious to how the readings overall for just what the uniformity is.
I could, Matt, are you okay with, how do you want to deal with that? If it was I'm not sure if it was in the application or not.
Yeah, it's not in the application. Or I don't believe it's in the application. What you're looking at, I don't think is part of it. I'm gonna, and Johanna, correct me if I'm wrong here. I would have you not send anything yet. What I would have you do is discuss it with the applicant. Tyrese, discuss with the applicant what the plan is with regard to lighting, how they arrived there, why they're proposing what they are, and then are they open to changes from there? The problem being, I don't want
It's challenging to ask that question when you just can't look at a photometric plan, but I hear you, but it's challenging to get, the actual answer that I'm looking for. But I hear what you're saying. I got you.
The difficulty just becomes introducing something new that the public didn't get to see. So we'll try to work with it from there. Any other questions on this one?
Nope.
All right, very good. Thank you all. Good discussion. This will conclude the pre-meeting for today, and the hearing will